Hi everyone, so today I want to talk about some of the reasons why I am an antinatalist. And first of all, I personally do not see life as a gift. I see it as an imposition. I was not asked if I wanted to have this experience called life. Somebody else chose for me, and in my point of view, they made the wrong choice. Because I wish that I wasn't here. I wish that I wouldn't have been born. And those feelings have made me not want to procreate because I don't want somebody else to feel the same way that I feel. I think that most of us, when we are young and we have, let's say, we go through difficult situations or we have bad parents, the first thing that pops into your head is, when I grow up, I'm going to be a better parent. I'm going to do a better job. I'm going to make, the kids that I have, I'm going to make their life great and better, blah, blah, blah. However, I think that most parents, they either end up doing exactly the same thing that their parents did. Some do a little bit better. Others go to the other extreme. What I'm talking about is that sometimes a child is raised very restricted. So when he grows up, he's like, oh, well, I'm not going to do the same thing to my kids. When I grow up, I'm going to let my kids do whatever they want. So then that child is like unrestrained, has no rules, regulations, nothing. It can just run wild like a horse. And they don't think that that is something wrong. They don't think that they're doing something wrong because they went to the other extreme of what their parents did. So anyways, so when I was a kid and I was going through very difficult situations in my life, the first thing that popped into my head was like, I'm not going to have anybody else go through the same thing again. Why would I do that? This is a horrible experience. I didn't want to be here. Somebody brought me into this world without my consent, without thinking about it, without thinking about how it was going to affect me. And I always thought, I'm not going to do this to another being. I think that in many of the cases, the lives of humans have more negative things than positive. And even when your life has been positive and great and fabulous and amazing, and you have great health and you're beautiful and you're fit and you have a great job and you have wonderful relationships, this does not guarantee that your child is going to have the same. I do not consider that it is moral, just, wise, or necessary to risk the life of another living being without you knowing what the quality of their life is going to be like. The quality of my life is not going to determine the quality of the life of that child, because there are thousands and millions of people around the world that go through great suffering and pain, through poverty, illness, accidents, physical and mental limitations, sexual abuse, rape, catastrophes, violence, injustice, old age, and finally death. And speaking of death, everyone that is born is going to die. And even though this sounds so obvious, I think that for most people it is not. Because I think that most people think about the coming into this life, but they don't really think about the going out of this life, the exiting. Because I've seen people go through great loss and pain with their parents or their sister or brother, whatever, even their own child. And then they'll get excited if somebody is pregnant. They'll be like, oh my God, yes, it's so amazing. I'm so glad you're pregnant, blah, 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 blah. As if they're not thinking, wait a minute, that child that's going to be born is going to go through great suffering and pain, probably have a horrible disease, and have a very painful death. Why would I want to do that? To me, it makes absolutely no sense. Getting over the loss, of a loved one is so traumatic, and it takes so much time to get over it, and some people never do. That to me, that pain is not worth the little bit of joy that a baby is going to give you, because you're just thinking about, oh, they're so cute, they're so this, they're so that, they're so wonderful, and blah, blah, blah. But then you're not thinking about the whole trajectory of their life. and how much negativity they're going to have to endure, and eventually that somebody is going to be mourning their death. That, to me, that cycle is completely unnecessary to me. I've always said that I love my children too much to have them, because I don't see any sense in bringing somebody into this world to suffer, to go through problems and loss, and possibly even me be the one that sees them die. Just because I want to have the pleasure of being a mother, because I want to have that experience, I find that very, very cruel. If my intention is to avoid pain and suffering of a loved one, why would I want to be the cause of that suffering? Because I think that every parent, directly or indirectly, is being the cause of the suffering of their child, and I don't think that I have the right to do that. I think that most people have children because of instinct or obligation or selfishness or other reasons. But I'm glad that every day there are more and more people that are recognizing that these are not good enough reasons to procreate. And I'm not saying that if you have kids, you're wrong and that I am right. I am just giving my personal point of view. And everyone is free to do whatever they want. I just don't think that I have the freedom to take the liberty to decide for another being that did not ask me to be born. I also think that having children is a type of slavery. I think that life in general is a type of slavery. You're born and you're like slave to your parents. Then you become slave to the education system, the government, your job, your religion. Then, in order for you to think that you're being liberated from your parents' slavery, you get married, which is another form of slavery. And to finish it off, you end up having kids, and the cycle continues. I've always seen this life as a form of slavery. I hope you understand what I mean by this. That you're obligated to do this, to do that, to go here, to go there, to not do this, to not do that. You're so limited. And you have to follow all these rules and all these things that I've always felt like life is very mediocre and unpleasant. And to me, it's a form of slavery. Why would I want to bring a child into this world that supposedly I love to go through the same thing? It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And even if you were the greatest parent ever, society will probably have a greater effect on your child, and in most cases, it's going to be a negative one. You have no control over others and how they will impact your child, so why take such a huge risk? And besides, I see humans as the worst plague that this planet has ever known. I think that we are a very negative and destructive species, that we have caused so much harm to ourselves, to each other, to the animals, to the planet, that it would take way too much to get over this negativity. And I think that in order for that to happen, we would need to totally get rid of the ego, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. Therefore, I do not want to contribute to this cycle of violence and misery and destruction. That is why I am an antinatalist. Well, thank you so much for listening. That's it for today. Talk to you soon. Bye.